Hi everybody, it's Diane. I had said in the previous video I showed the few things that I got at the craft stores while I was on my getaway. And I said that this would be shown the following day, but that was a short video, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and put them both on the same day, and then tomorrow I will show the glue books that I completed, the ones I'm selling. These are glue books that I'm actually working in. These are my glue books. So I'm going to show you what I did on retreat. And I finished this book that I've been working on for a while, so I'll show this to you at the end. So I didn't do a whole lot in the bigger books because I was more intent on getting these done, on that one done. So some of these I already showed you, but I had skipped some pages. So this one has a page from a children's, a French nursery story book, and I didn't want to cover up the image here, so I had skipped over it. But I went ahead and I just put one of my vintage Spiegel catalog ladies on here with a beaded piece behind her. I had gotten a book, maybe at the thrift store, I don't remember, or a flea market, and it had images of beaded pieces from different artists, and so there's so many intriguing images in that book, and so I did use a few of them in between all three of these, so that's one of them right there. That's all I did because I didn't want to cover that up. And then I did this page that had been skipped over before, and again, she's from my Spiegel catalog, and this is from a more modern magazine. This is from a magazine, this lilac back here. And then I just added some other bits from magazine images, and then this was a label, a printable label. When I glued her, because these images are fragile, it's very vintage paper from an old catalog and thin. When I glued her, and then I picked her up off the paper I had her on for gluing, her head came right off. So can you see the seam where I had to piece her together there? That doesn't matter. It's my glue book. It's not like something I'm selling. And then I did these pages. So more ladies from my catalog. This came from a magazine, and some images, and a vintage math book back there. Just some images from other magazines. They look like they're gossiping, don't they? She's telling her something juicy. Maybe they're talking about her. Does she look like she has a secret? And this piece here is from a magazine. It's all one piece. It looks like I just worked really hard and cut and glued a whole bunch of pieces, but that one long piece is one piece. And then this little bee mosaic I added, and a printable label and a stamp, and some vintage graph paper behind her. Just for fun. These are just fun collages. And I thought these guys were so cute with their matching clothes. This whole page had his and hers outfits, dresses for her and shirts for him, and they're just so cute. And the page itself is a vintage music page, so I just used that as the background and just put a little scrap of a merchandise bag behind it and a stamp, just scraps, and then I cut this from another magazine. I like the colors, and I like the pop of red that it adds. And then we have this lovely Belle in a yellow dress, and I covered up the whole, it was a magazine page, so I covered the whole thing up. I put a strip here from a Pioneer Woman magazine. Her magazines always have really pretty borders around the pages, so I saved some of them. Behind her is just a paint swatch page from a home decorating book, and I just left it with the names of the paints on it. It's okay that way. And she's from my catalog, and then I don't know what this was from a vintage magazine, and it was all these bulb flowers with this little tiny lady standing underneath them. But I cut her out and kind of rearranged the flowers and glued her on top of the daffodil, so it looks like she's looking at her. And this was on the this advertisement, How to Succeed in Gardening Without Really Trying. So I just made a little montage there. And I think that's all I did in this book. 1, 2, 3, 4. I did 6 pages actually. That's pretty good. And this is what I call my collage book, but because I make arrangements and I try to finish a page all at once, I don't go back and add more to it usually. I try to do a complete, cohesive collage. This one I call my glue book because I just stick stuff in randomly, and I do try to make it look good, but I kind of treated it more like the collage book. I did arrangements in this one and completed the page as I went. So it doesn't matter. Whatever I feel like doing that day is what I'll do. If I have bits of pieces on my table left over from stuff and I don't feel like sorting it and putting it away, I'll just open up my glue book and start sticking it in. And then I can add to the pages more another time. But for while I was away, I pretty much treated each individual page as a complete collage and finished it. So I'm not sure where I got this. It was from an old magazine, I think, or a new magazine. I don't know. It doesn't feel that old, but I like the image. And I have another image that I used in this book that came from the same magazine. So the page is a map page, and I hadn't glued anything into this glue book yet, so this was my first use of this book. It's a map page, which I liked, and I wanted to let the map show. So I put some music paper here and some little scraps up here, just a little cutout flower here, and a couple of stamps. And it made a collage. And I love these. This came from a little children's book in German that I believe Pirio sent me. Isn't that deer beautiful? And there was a picture on the back of it, but I love the deer, so I went ahead and sacrificed the other picture. This is from a magazine, just lace and ruffle here. Some music paper, and this came from a printable collage sheet. And then this again is paint swatches from a decorating magazine. I love those things. And I didn't know what to do on this page. I kind of wanted it to go nicely with this page, which I don't always do in my glue books. But I found this. And this, I'm sure it came from one of the Somerset publications. And it might have been even from the books that I just got from Jill, but I'm not sure. It seems like I've had it longer than that, but I don't know. I get so mixed up. So it's a deer, and that's a deer. So I used it, and it had the wings on it. And then this is just from a decorating magazine. I just cut it out for the abstract feel of it. And I added this mushroom from another magazine. And this, I think it came from a Somerset magazine. And this square came from a decorating magazine. And then these came from the book with the beading. Oh, and this came from a decorating magazine. I had, the big elements, and then I just had to kind of fill in with some other pieces. And so I did those 3, and then I did one way back here because I had this chair and ottoman from a decorating magazine that I wanted to use. Oh, sorry. And they were connected. That's all one piece. And I didn't want to cut them apart because then I would lose the functionality of the chair, actually. So I wanted to find something that would fit in both the chair and the ottoman. So this little girl came from the book of beading. So an artist made her. And this came from one of those Somerset magazines that Jill just sent me. And this was an artist who does paper mache. So I put Humpty Dumpty on this stool and the little girl in the chair. And then this jewel came from a magazine. That's all I did in that book. I did 4 pages in that one. But I did spend a lot of time on this, and I actually did the cover. So I just, and this, again, this is from the beading book. So there's buttons and sequins. Maybe it's all buttons. But it's, of course, the Mona Lisa, all done in buttons. Isn't that amazing? And then I did, throughout this, what I did this weekend, or this past week, I used a lot of phrases from a digital company, and I'm thinking it's Calico Collage, but I am not positive. But I'll have to look into that. So as I've said before with this book, I started at the beginning. I would do a spread at the beginning, or 2 pages. They don't go together as a spread. And then I would do 2 pages in the back and then go back and forth. And look how nicely it turned out. If I had just worked from front to back, it would have warped the book and kind of bent it out of shape. But it turned out pretty nice. It is quite big, but that's going to happen if you're adding more than twice the pages that are in there, because you're gluing layer on each page, and I didn't remove any pages. This is just a notebook, and I know you're going to ask me how big it is, so I'm going to measure it. 3.5 by 5.5, and it's kind of like a moleskin, but this is a Martha Stewart Office book that I got at Staples on clearance a long time ago. So I've been working in it. The first one I did was in March of 2017. So let's just go to the ones that I just did this week, and then you can see the new ones, and then I will flip through the whole book because it is complete, and maybe some of you would like to see the entire book. So these are what I did. What I do for this book is I lay down something for a background, and this happens to be all one piece, and so does this, but many of them are multiple pieces just to fill in the background. And then I have main focal point, and it's usually a woman, and then I have a quote. And I will use my black Stabilo pencil, all pencil, and just do some outlining and then wet it and smear it because it's water soluble, and that's what it's for. And then I use my white, I can never remember the name of them, but the little pens that just you can dot white with. So, and then it's fun to try to match up a quote that kind of goes with the lady. So this is actually an advertisement for flu medicine or something. She's really under the weather. And I use this really bright background, so she kind of blends into the background. But that kind of suited my mood, as far as I feel like I just kind of am there, blending in, and that's how I felt that day. So, and then the quote is, because things are the way they are, things will not stay the way they are. So on this page, it's just a background of lace, and then this old-fashioned painting and some flowers with lots of white dots all over on this page, and it says, "Don't live life in the past lane." So because she's an old-fashioned girl, I thought that was appropriate, and that's what I'm trying to get myself to get out of the past lane and remember that I have a future. Sometimes I don't want to move on. I want to be back with my husband. I want my husband to still be here. So I'm living in the past lane because that's all I want. But I am trying to work on getting myself moving forward. And I made some progress on that this week while I was away. This page has 2 background pieces. This is scrapbook paper, and this came from a magazine. This is a part of her. So there was a white background around her and then this black half of it. But I cut out all of the white so you could see a pretty background. And this just came from a book that I had that was like an illustrated journal that a woman published. And the illustrations are great, so I keep them and I throw them in something every once in a while. It says her spirit was her guide. And for something like that, I take that to mean the Holy Spirit, because God's Holy Spirit is my guide. I love this picture of the woman holding an umbrella, but she's just smiling and looking very optimistic. And I put a map behind her and a little piece, again, probably from the Pioneer Woman Borders. And this is part of the map. And the quote is, she learned to live in the moment. So it doesn't matter if it's raining, you just keep on living in the moment. I thought she was cute. This came out of a Somerset magazine. And there's a digital collage page behind her. And that's all. Just I cut that collage page to fit because the colors worked well with it. And it says, embrace the life that's calling you. And here we have music paper and this oval design that came out of a decorating magazine. And then I don't know what magazine she came out of. And then the quote came from a magazine also. Permission to do something different. Again, music paper, and then this lady from a vintage magazine holding a fan. And just a strip of wallpaper and scrapbook paper and a pretty stamp. And it says, this world is but a canvas to our imagination. Henry David Thoreau. This came from a Somerset, probably art journaling magazine. I thought she was pretty. And I just put some paper at the top and the bottom to fill in the gaps. The flower is a part of the art. So all it is her and these two pieces. And then the quote, endless possibilities. Which I thought, after I cut that out to put it on here, I realized that the green matched well with the borders. So that was good. And then I used a lot of white dots. These pages kind of blend together as far as the theme. She looks pretty unhappy. And when I look in the mirror, I see that look a lot. So I'm trying to do better with that. This is just a vintage book page, some scrapbook paper, and a little cutout. And she was holding, she had a sign in front of her that said coffee. I don't drink coffee. And she's from an art magazine, art journaling magazine or something. I don't drink coffee, so I didn't want the coffee theme there. But I really thought this was pretty, so I glued that there. And then cut two words from news magazines, be happy. Just a reminder to be happy. And then she is from the paper mache artist, again, from that magazine. And I have several strips of paper in here. Actually, it's only two. This is scrapbook paper, and this is like a green map, and that's the border around the map that has some printing on it. And this is just a close-up of that girl. I have a bigger picture of her that I can use in another book. But it says, a smile is the best makeup. She has a tentative smile, but it's a smile. So I thought these kind of went well together. Be happy, because a smile is the best makeup. This is just a figurine of a boy and a girl holding hands and looking like they have someplace to go. So I used this quote, go places, write about it, which is what we do with our journals. We write about our journey. And this is a calendar page with the spaces for the dates behind them. Here's another black and white lady from a vintage magazine, just an illustration. Two pieces of scrapbook paper, and I added this rose, and I just put on the words, finding me. There's some more ladies from the beading book. This was a whole page of people in this, like a party scene. So I just cut them apart, and I've used them in different things. I still have some to use. But it says she has colorful dreams, and this is a dyed paper behind. It was a scrap that I had. They're very colorful. So either somebody's having a colorful dream and they're in it, or maybe they're looking at her and thinking she has colorful dreams. She's another of that magazine or that book that I used. I got her from. And I don't know where I got them from. I've had them for a while. But it just says live fully. This kind of reminds me of a Toulouse-Lautrec painting because of the sketchy people behind her. He kind of did this kind of a style with his art. This is a vintage lady from a vintage magazine, and she's got coffee and some dessert or something on the tray. and it says savor your journey. And here we have a lady who looks very confident. I don't know what kind of magazine she came from, but there's bits of paper behind her. And there was something in front of her, must be, because she was cut in an arc like that. And this oval shape from a decorating magazine fit right in there beautifully. So I just put it in there to fill in this space. And it says, believe in yourself, because doesn't she look like she believes in herself? She just looks so confident. This lady is from a vintage decorating magazine, so it was actually advertising the decor around her, but look at that hair. And she's wearing a long pink dress. You can see the bottom of it here with her pink shoe peeping out. And this garland of flowers is from a gorgeous wrapping paper, a vintage wrapping paper. And so I fussy cut all around it and glued that there, and then I had to put an extra piece of scrapbook paper behind it just because of the two corners peeping out there. But it says live life in full color. And again, this is from the beading book, and I just thought it looked interesting. I just put some collage digital paper behind it, and it says observe mindfulness. And then I think these are the last two that I did this week, yes. And I liked this. She's black and white. She's from a vintage magazine, but there's lots of color behind her, and it says brighten the room. And I would like to be the kind of person that makes a room brighter by coming into it and not bringing it down. So I put that on there. And she's also black and white, but she's confident looking. She's trying to make herself look beautiful. She already looks beautiful, but she's brushing her hair. She's holding up a mirror. And it says your vibe attracts your tribe. And I thought that was really good. A good way to say you attract people to the kind of mood that you're putting out. So you want to be careful about what kind of mood you are conveying. So I like that. So that's what I did this week. There was a lot of pages that I was able to do this week. So now I'm just going to do a flip through of the entire book with less talking, because I have showed the other pages before. I'm just going to take you from the beginning to the end. Embrace yourself and who you are. Home is where the heart is. This one says, why not? Challenge yourself. Perfection, it's what I dream about. I can trust without a doubt. Let it go. You'll be surprised. Was it a bad day, or was it a bad 5 minutes that you milked all day? Something to remember. When rainbows smile in the sky. She's looking out the window. I started this when I was still a new widow. So there's a lot trying to just encourage me, encourage myself. So that was what this was. When rainbows smile in the sky. I was waiting for a day when rainbows would smile in the sky. This one has a scripture verse taken from a magazine. We're fools whether we dance or not, so we might as well dance. I'm looking toward my next goal. Life is getting more interesting every day. What's really important in life? And there's a woman holding a baby. A change in bad habits leads to a change in life. This is big. Meanwhile, back at the castle, I just love that illustration. Imagination at work. Life is complicated. Looking good should be easy. What do they see when they look at you? I liked this because she has a blank, there's no face on her. So what do they see when they look at you? I just thought that was really good. It takes as much energy to wish as it does to plan. The truth of the matter is that you always know the right thing to do. The hard part is doing it. I am who I am today because of the choices I made yesterday. Apparently I lost, when I cut these words apart, I lost the section that said I made, so I had to write that one out. You're an unrepeatable miracle. If you expect someone else to guide you, you'll be lost. James Earl Jones. On with the dance, let the joy be unconfined is my motto, whether there's any dance to dance or any joy to unconfine. Mark Twain. I love Mark Twain. And then we're going through the ones that I just did this week. I should set this down and then just zoom in on it, huh? Maybe that would be easier. If I can just keep it in frame now. And we have Beethoven, some artist's rendition of Beethoven with a big head. It says, be miserable or motivate yourself. Whatever has to be done, it's always your choice. It is impossible to feel grateful and depressed in the same moment. Maybe you're going to ask me where I get the quotes from. Some of these with a little tiny print came from my planners. They're Day Runner planners or Franklin Covey planner pages that I've had over the years, and I cut out the quotes that I like. Some of them just came from magazines like this, and these came from digitals, and like I said, I believe they're from Calico Collage. And some of them are just, when you see a magazine quote that you like or just words, you can put words together. The one that said be happy was from 2 different magazine pages. So this is big, came from a magazine. This one came from a magazine. So I just look for quotes or just words. From experience comes faith. There is a light in this world, a healing spirit more powerful than any darkness we may encounter. This was, it's a piece of canvas actually, and it has Dina Wakley, I think it's Dina Wakley artwork on it. I had bought these on clearance a while back, and they're sticky back canvas, but if you can see, there's a lady here with a heart, and the man looks pretty ghostly. And so I just glued that in and did nothing else to this page when I put it in. And then this week I found this amongst my words, and I just added that because it's me and him. And that's all I did. I don't need to write any words on it. That's all I did. We do not believe if we do not live and work according to our belief. If we believe something, we're going to act like we believe it. Here's another scripture. Walk as children of light, for the fruit of light is found in all that is good and right and true. There's more to it, but she just looks, she's walking, she's striding. So I put that quote on. The thank you came from the back of a guest check. Sorry, I'll leave the book alone. And this came from a magazine. Don't let the possibilities be suffocated by procrastination. Go, now. The further we go back into the book, the earlier we get, because I started working from the back and into the center. Explore, dream, discover. Mark Twain. Not everything can be counted. Not everything that can be counted counts. and not everything that counts can be counted. Albert Einstein. Quality never goes out of style. Being yourself is the prettiest thing you can be. Remember the moment. Abundant joy. Go ahead. I remember when I did this page, just telling myself to go ahead and feel the joy. I'm still struggling with that, but I did a lot of praying about that this week. Maybe I'll talk to you in an upcoming video about some stuff. Like, I was reading a book, I'll share the book with you, called Choosing Gratitude. And I realized that I've been living in an ungrateful way. But I'll talk more about that. It's never too late to find out who you want to be. Here's Mona Lisa again. It's a fantastic day to be fabulous. Let your smile sparkle. Get in gear. That's again, I was trying to give myself a kick in the pants. Make every day sparkle. And wish upon a star. And she tells herself everything is fine. So, I have a completed book. I'm so happy that it's done. I don't know if I'm going to start another. I have another book just like this because they came 2 in a pack. But it was so enjoyable, so maybe I will start it again sometime, but maybe not right away. So I hope you enjoyed seeing that, and you will probably see more of these pages from this pair of books, and maybe I'll do some collage with me videos where I'm actually doing the collage while you watch. So I guess that's it, and then I will come back with the glue books that I created while I was there, and get those listed in the shop. So thanks for watching, and I'm glad to be back, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.